Hello everybody, Ron the Black Redneck here, and today we're going to do some trellising. This is something I found that a grocery store was throwing out, so I'm just going to tie some twine to these hoops to give these beans all the room they want to grow. Uh, I won't do it today, but in the future when those zucchini and cucumbers grow, they will get some trellis later on. Probably will use some like PCV, raised up to about 4 feet, with some type of horizontal plane for them to grow on. Seems to work out well for me. Like this right here. You just have these beans just going where they want to. I'll just tie a couple lines of twine just to give it somewhere to go. These are just your typical tomato trellises you can buy anywhere for like $4 to $5 a piece. They work well for peppers, tomatoes, anything like that. Keeps them from branching out too much like this guy here. Might prune him back a little bit, but he's doing actually pretty well the way I have it in there. Over here we have squash, doing very well. Won't really mess with that too much. They're doing fine the way they are. Might add a couple more little PCV pipes and some twine in there just to give it support. As they get heavier, they start to tip over. More tomatoes in there, going crazy. I'll probably tie some lines down there. As you can see, it's very packed in there, so it's hard to see what's what. More spinach and lettuce back there. And this squash over here, these were the 8 squash in my first video that I moved when they were young. Some of the squash have tipped over, so this is the main point of the video, like that. Almost took out a corn on its own, so actually that's 2 corn, huh? So I'm gonna give them some support so they stand up a little better, because these were done so low to the ground into regular earth, not a raised bed, I guess they don't have as much support. They're not standing up as well as the squash doing the raised bed. So tie some of them up.
So here we have a little sped up video, a couple of bits and pieces clipped together showing I had a lot of leftover PVC from a failed attempt at building a greenhouse, where I found out it was just easier to buy the broken greenhouse that you see to the left from Amazon. That I'll have to fix that too. So, as usual, trying to save a buck here and there. Sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. But the PVC I am putting together to make trellises, which work perfectly fine, and just hammering them straight into the ground, no concrete, nothing like that. Piecing them together with the unions. That center piece is just a little piece of threaded rod that I randomly found somewhere. Drilled a hole in the bottom of the union. It's nice support for it. Then I will use, as you can see in some of the video, just some twine just to tie around to lift up some of the leaves from the ground. As some of the beans keep growing, I will use the twine to give the beans something to grab on until the corn gets tall enough. And it works out pretty easy. The twine is cheap from wherever your favorite hardware store is, and it lasts a couple years. I mean, about a year or two it'll start to degrade, but that's fine. By then you'll probably come up with something else. It's not like it needs to be there for years like that, and you can decide to get a more permanent solution if you so desire. But twine is cheap, and what is it? A $5 to $8 roll will last you a long time, probably a season or two, depending on how much you plant. And so that's just what I'm doing in some of this video. In the next part, you're going to see where I'm moving on to, once I'm done with the squash, I'm moving on to a bed that beans are more of the focus here. I have lettuce back there, some collards. You can see more corn all the way to the left. That's in a bed with cilantro and other herbs. And this, I just had some hoops that I guess eventually in the fall I'll maybe will use for like frost cloth, and I was expecting to put more pest netting and stuff down, but I didn't really deal with pests too much in these beds. So now I'm just tying them together. Again, just twine. I'll tie it in a couple places. It'll be sturdy enough. You can see it's windy, but it's not bothered because it's not catching the wind like a full cover of, I don't know, if I was to use like that plastic stuff to make like a temporary greenhouse, that stuff would get blown apart, as I learned from the failed greenhouse that I described earlier. So I'm just tying all this up, a couple pieces of twine. Um, the beans love to grab this stuff, and every day or so you just come out and kind of twirl the bean around the yarn, kind of thread it. The tendrils are kind of spiky and kind of they grab very well. So that's what it's there for. Cucumbers and stuff in the back behind me in this video. I think it's cucumber and zucchini will climb also with a similar design. I have all kinds of material and stuff that I'll use for them to climb. And here in this last section, I have tomatoes that are starting to go a little crazy, so I'm just giving them some support with, again, some more PVC and just tying it up so they can go a little more vertical. And here we have the finished product of the bean garden. Eventually all these twine will be covered in beans along with the hoops. It'll look great. I won't have to bend over so much to pick the beans, which will be awesome, because last year I had beans going crazy and it got a little annoying trying to fight through a forest of beans. Obviously, as I started, I didn't realize how prevalent these things will produce. So this will be a lot easier to just walk by, mostly waist height or chest height, and just grab beans right off. As you can see, I'm showing here the twirling I was talking about earlier. The vines of the bean are, they're a little prickly, so they kind of stick right to the twine, and you just, convince it. And as it grows along, you just come out and do the same thing every day, maybe two. And just here's the squash bed that started to produce a lot. And that's the tomatoes. Eventually I'll come in and prune it a little bit. But this was just a simple video that I wanted to show. Cheap, easy methods to trellis up a couple different plants that like to do well vertically. Thanks for watching, and soon I'll figure out what I'm going to replace all these pulled spinach with. And thanks for watching. Next video will come soon.